What's one decision or action you're most proud of when it comes to caregiving or future planning?
Yeah, so my reflection is really based on my entire family, and something that I think as a collective we did really well is just building our family dynamic. Um, as an adult now, and as somebody who interacts with a lot of siblings who have other siblings with disabilities, what I sometimes am hearing is that people as in childhood didn't really feel heard, and maybe they didn't feel included as that sibling. And so I would say that that's something my family did extremely well, is when Cassidy was little, we were included in her care. We were part of those conversations. And we were also really honored as our own people. So we were celebrated for our accomplishments and who we were. And Cassidy got to be a part of that too. And so it really became that family dynamic that we were all so proud of each other and we showed up for each other. And I think that really created a really strong family bond and a really strong sibling bond that naturally kind of turned into caregiving because we wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, that's something that I think as a family, I'm really proud of us for.
Oh, thank you. That was great. If you could go back, is there anything you would have started earlier?
Yeah, so as the individual who will eventually take on Cassidy's care full time, and that is the family planning that we have done. We started that quite early, and fortunately for our family, it happened very naturally that I would be the one that eventually Cassidy will live with, and I will take over that, which I'm honored and excited for. But I wish that we'd started just building those skills within Cassidy a little bit earlier for her to be independent. And I am a strong advocate that you can never do that too early. And so she is a very independent woman now. And we're still working on those skills, but the skills like maybe navigating transit, the skills like cooking, the skills like planning and executive functioning skills, I don't think you can ever start those too early. And as the sibling, I'm a big advocate because I think sometimes our parents, they want to baby Cassidy because she is the littlest and she is our youngest sibling and we all adore her so much. But I'm a big advocate that Cassidy can and Cassidy is able to. And so, yeah, just really empowering her as well. I think that could have started a bit earlier.
So, how are you helping others understand your loved one's needs and preferences, especially when planning for future caregiving?
Yeah, I think Cassidy is her most powerful advocate. And so it's really been about championing her voice and making sure that she knows that she is autonomous and she has a voice. And so making sure that her preferences are seen, heard, and honored. Um, and doing that from a sibling perspective as somebody who supports her. So I think that's been a really big goal and really asking Cassidy, what do you want? What does your ideal future look like? And she knows. She's very aware of what her future looks like. She wants to live with me, but she wants her own space and she wants to be independent and have all those experiences that I have and that her other older sibling has as well. So yeah, it's really been about coming back to Cassidy's voice.
And what's one thing you've learned about navigating systems as an advocate for someone with Down syndrome?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I've learned about all the systems, whether it was the education system or the healthcare system or the community systems, has been that access is not inclusion. Inclusion is truly belonging. It is feeling seen and feeling heard and feeling valued again. And so when it was the education system, that was our biggest, I don't want to say fight because that maybe has a negative connotation, but that was the biggest thing we were pushing for with Cassidy was we wanted Cassidy to be a member of the classroom. We wanted her to be a member of the school system and to really be involved and be a contributing member. And so that was a big advocacy there, that it wasn't just about having Cassidy in the classroom. It was, is Cassidy a contributing member? Is Cassidy seen in those spaces? Are her classmates aware that she's there? Yeah, it was really about making sure she was a contributor. And in the way that it honored Cassidy's skills as well. Cassidy is a very natural leader. And so a little bit bossy, but a very natural leader. And so where can those skills be honed in the classroom? And that is truly accessibility within the classroom. And same with the healthcare system. And I think that happens in different avenues. There's empowering Cassidy's voice and moving through those systems with her and advocating along the way. There's also making sure that myself as a sibling, my general rule is I do not sit at tables that Cassidy would not have a seat at. And so making sure that when I'm in those spaces, whether Cassidy's there or not, I'm advocating for people with disabilities and making sure that they can take up space there. And then also, as now a healthcare professional myself, navigating it from that avenue as well. So making sure that the systems that I'm putting in place and that I'm a part of, that disabled people are also going to be a part of that.
What helps you recharge when caregiving starts to feel overwhelming?
Yeah, I'm not Cassidy's primary caregiver. I am Cassidy's secondary caregiver, but I support my parents in that way, in that Cassidy comes and stays with me. So when they need maybe a little break or just a little time to themselves, Cassidy will come and she'll stay with me, sometimes for a week or sometimes shorter. And we get to do those fun sister things, which also, I mean, helps prep us for one day when we will live together full time. So yeah, I just support in that way. But for me personally, I've never really had to experience that or experience that firsthand, because yeah, I've never been in that primary role.
But what keeps you going on the hard days?
When I think of hard days, I think of the days where Cassie wasn't included. And so the days where it feels like I'm struggling with the systems in place and I feel like there's no hope. And I mean, Cassidy keeps me going on those hard days. The excitement about her future and what she will accomplish and what she already is accomplishing, that's what keeps me going, as well as the other people in the community. So I'm fortunate to be a part of the Down syndrome community. It is a tight-knit crew, and folks are always open and validating and providing empathy. And so I think we're so appreciative of that, as well as they provide, tips for navigating that system if they've already done it. And so I think, yeah, leaning on the community has been a really powerful thing to do throughout our journey.
How has your caregiving role changed as your loved one's gotten older?
When Cassidy was little, I liked to be a miniature mom. So I like to help Cassidy with all the things mom was doing. And so whether that was, feeding her or helping practice the things that her physical therapist had, her speech therapist had assigned to her, I like to do all of those things. But that kind of shifted as we got older and we just became best friends. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that relationship, because a lot of times I think from an outsider's perspective, when you look in, people, see me and they think, oh, and I've heard this as well. People say, oh, you're such a good person, or you're such a wonderful person. And although I appreciate that, I'm really just a sister. And that is who I am at the end of the day. I do the exact same thing for my older sister that I do for Cassidy. And so I'm really proud of that relationship. And yeah, and eventually we're going to transition to a relationship where maybe I will take on a bit of a more primary caregiving role. And that is in our family planning. But at the same time, I'll still just be Cassidy's sister. And maybe that relationship looks a little bit different than other siblings. Maybe I have a few more roles and responsibilities, but at the end of the day, I'm just somebody who loves Cassidy.
You have anything that you wanted to share tips wise, or like a final, it didn't fit anywhere else, but you wish you'd heard it or you want someone else to hear it?
I think just for the siblings, because I went through a few transitions in my own life. For example, when I went to university for the first time and I had to move away from home. And then I came back to university and I had to move away from home again. And those transitions were extremely difficult for me. And they were hard on Cassidy too. And I felt a lot of guilt for doing that. But I just want to speak to all of the siblings who maybe have gone through that or will go through that it's also okay for us to pursue our fullest potential. So whatever that looks like, and our siblings and our families will still be so proud of us, and we'll bring them along with us on that journey. And it might look different, but the involvement will still be there. And I'm super, again, fortunate to have my family who will fly Cassidy to see me and who will bring me home. And we make it work for this kind of weird period where I have to be away from home. But I just want to make sure that we still fulfill our fullest potential, whatever that looks like.